Hello guys, this is Dark Synovia here, and as promised, I'm going to review another series of books. Only two, because, well, there is enough content for me to review one in one video, honestly. And that will be the first two books of the Jedi Apprentice book series. The first one being The Rising Force by David Willington. This is the only book in the series that's written by him, but I'll talk about that. And the second book in the series, which is the second book onward, Jade Watson. This series of books, if you're familiar, if you were my age when The Phantom Menace came out. After that movie came out, there's stories for the prequel era were fair game. There was a floodgate. There were so many stories in this era when Episode 1 came out. There was, a lot of things that were open. Of course, you couldn't really touch the Clone Wars still. You couldn't do that. But the writers of the expanded universe had a lot more freedom. More creative freedom at this point. And this explores an aspect of Obi-Wan's character where Obi-Wan is young and reckless. And you actually see a young Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan, at the start of the series, is 12 years old. The first book of the series, the Force Rising, or the Rising Force, I'm pronouncing that wrong, and The Dark Rival is essentially the first arc of this series. I don't want to give too much away. I mean, Matt Wilkins, I'm grateful when he reviewed the videos, because when he reviewed these, that he didn't give that much away, considering the fact that these books, talking about them just doesn't do these books justice. The Reader's Companion does give you some details about these books, but it just doesn't tell you anything. Not enough. It's better to actually read the books. The first two books of the series, deals with Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Qui-Gon, spoiler alert for the first two books, is reluctant to take a Padawan. Because one of his Padawans, Xanatos, basically turned to the dark side. How does that happen? Well, that is revealed in a comic book that came out after these books. But I'm not going to talk about that. But it does talk about it enough in this, so you do have an idea of what happened. And so, yeah, what I think of these two books, I think they're great. I think, despite them being a novel that's designed for people who are 9 to 12, these don't feel that way. Just because these are made for kids does not mean you shouldn't read these. I mean, Qui-Gon Jinn is barely in the EU, barely any books. There aren't that many adult novels that feature Qui-Gon Jinn. Not very many. Especially as one of the leading characters. You have him in Cloak of Deception, and you may have him a little bit in Shadowhunter, but he's not a main character. And in these books, he's one of the lead characters. And Qui-Gon Jinn, in my opinion, is an underrated character. I think Star Wars Episode 1 doesn't, it doesn't really get into this character very much. And these books this is why I love the EU so much. Characters that weren't that interesting in the movies have a lot of layer of depth to them in the books. And I know it may be hard to find these without resorting to Amazon and vice versa, but these books are worth tracking down. They're not that expensive. This book I got for $4. Same thing with Dark Rival. In total, of the first 6 books, I spent $30. I'd have to, for 4 of the adult novels, that's how much it would cost. So if you're looking to expand your EU library and you want to read stuff that takes place pre-Episode 1, because there aren't that many stories out there in pre-Episode 1. Not really. You have the Old Republic, you have some of the comics, but you don't have that many novels that take place before The Phantom Menace. It's one of the few eras, like 100 years prior to episode 1 or whatever, that time period, there's barely any stories. And these are one of the rare treasures. You get to see a young Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know, in these books. Like I would say in my Paradise Share review, these are a rare treasure. These are not easy to find now, unless you have Amazon. But on Amazon, they're not that expensive. I urge you, if you are an Obi-Wan fan, and Obi-Wan is one of your favorite characters, I recommend this series for you. The first 2 books, I haven't really gotten to the plot very much. I've just been talking about how great this series is for the first 2 books alone, but I just think talking about them just doesn't do it justice. I'll be reviewing more of these, but I will be mainly doing New Jedi Order. But if you want to know what generally happens in this book, essentially, I've been getting a little off topic, not really, it has to relate to the series. You see Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon starting to bond, at least in the first 2 books, and Qui-Gon seeing what Obi-Wan is capable of and how he... This shows how Obi-Wan became Qui-Gon's Padawan. Now, here's something dark, for you, Del Rey and Disney. You want to really do something good for Star Wars? Reprint this series under the Legends banner. I know you could do it through ebook, but people like myself want a physical copy. Come on. As for these first 2 books, I give them a 4 out of 5 stars. I think they're great. And there's nothing more I can say about these 2 books that aren't good. Great. Don't expect the next video to be as long as this one. This is the start of a series that I'm going to do. Unlike Matt Wilkins, who, of course, there's a lot of stuff in the EU, so I can understand him not going through all these. I'm actually going to review these 2 books at a time. So, the next books in the series will be book 3 and 4. Have a great day, everyone. This is Darth Sinovia. May the Force be with you, and have a good day.